Now, I've got to start off by saying congratulations on the film, not only because of the nominations and the awards it's picked up, but congratulations on making such a brilliant film. I've had a chance to sit down and watch it, and it's amazing, so congratulations.
Thanks so much.
So,
Thank you.
I understand the film was based on an actual event, so I was wondering if we could go right back and talk a little bit about where the idea for the film first started.
Sure. I was on a train home from Brisbane to the Sunshine Coast hinterland where I live, and about halfway, it was night, about sort of halfway through the trip, a guy got on and he was, I don't know what was going on for him, but he was being very menacing and very intimidating. So the train had a vestibule at the end, which is a little room that you go into, and there's a toilet in there, and when the train was moving, he was in the toilet. When the train would be coming to a stop, he would come out and look at me through the glass in the door, and it was terrifying, but there was a lot of noise action going on when he went into the toilet, and the light would come on and buzz, and whilst I was scared, I was thinking, wow, this is like this, all this sensory stuff would actually make a really good film. That's where it started.
So, Louisa, what was your first thoughts when Tanya came to you with this idea about let's turn this into a film?
Yeah, well, Tanya had actually written the script well before I came on board. So I basically came on board with a completed script, basically ready to go. I don't think many changes were made after I got the script. So when I first read it, I just I loved it. And I am very attracted to, films that talk about female issues and the female experience in a very kind of thought-provoking, poignant kind of way. So when I read it, I was like, yep, this is awesome. So I came on board after that.
Tanya, it sounds like it was kind of a really terrifying situation to be in. Was it a difficult film for you to write because you had to go back and revisit how you felt at the time, or did it actually feel like a really good way to get that all out?
Oh, look, I've worked in the prevention of violence against women for years, so there were issues that I was across and dealing with anyway. So, no, it wasn't difficult to write, and you're probably right. It probably was a good way to kind of process it by getting it down on paper. So, yeah, and because it was sequential, apart from the moth factor, I sort of could see it in my mind what had happened as I was writing it. Yeah.
It's such an important topic to put out there into the public to discuss as well, because I know that there's incidents like that happens on public transport. I think they said recently here in Victoria alone that they get reports through this new system that they've set up now where women can text and talk about and report things like this on public transport, that they're getting so many texts to that, whether it be sexually suggestive comments, looks, threats of violence on public transport. It's such an important issue to get out there. Was that something that you were both aware of as well when you were making the film, that this was a topic that needs to be discussed in public?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, women should be able to walk home at night or get public transport home at night without having to do the constant risk assessments all women do, which is, and they don't even know they're doing it, which is, surveying a train platform to see who's on it before they actually walk down into it, or crossing the road, or checking the footsteps behind them, or that sort of stuff that we do from, this big, little, that we just forget we're doing, but we're doing it all the time. And yeah, it is an issue. And we get a lot of women coming up to us after screening saying, wow, we totally relate to that. But we also get men coming up saying, is that actually how women feel? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, I'll take that on board next time I'm on a train or next time I'm walking behind a woman at night. So that's good. We like to hear that.
Yeah, that's something I became very aware of a few years ago, because I quite often finish up work at 10, 11 o'clock at night and have to walk to the train station. And I did. It was something I became aware of. If you're walking behind a woman, I realize how she could be feeling. So these days I try to cross the street or keep my distance back, just so that I'm not that, because I'm a kind of big guy. I'm tall, so that probably doesn't help as well. So, yeah, it's something that men have to be aware of as well.
Yeah, and that's great. And I think it's not a deliberate attempt by men in most cases to scare women. It's just not thinking. Like you said, you suddenly became aware of it, and now you take action to do things that make women feel more comfortable, which is great.
Definitely. So, Louisa, tell us a little bit about when you came on board. What were your thoughts on the film, and how did you go from turning it to page to actually getting it to something that you could film?
Yeah, look, it was a very, very challenging and ambitious script to make with our budget. There were many moments at the beginning where it was kind of like, is this even going to get made? Just because it was quite a challenge. But that's kind of the beauty and challenge of producing and even directing, trying to solve those creative problems. So that's the beauty of that. But we just worked through it, and the biggest hurdle, of course, was just like location and making that look realistic. And we getting train stations are all very challenging locations to work with. So that was kind of our biggest hurdle. And it was. Everything else, I mean, we have such an amazing filmmaker community in Queensland and in Brisbane, so we had a kind of a big network of actors and crew that we could pull from to make it happen. But yeah, I would say that and what's the most important element? The VFX. I was like, there's something else. The VFX too is just... we had no idea how to approach that. But again, we found an amazing kind of VFX artist who was a one-man band, actually, which was incredible. Tim, who did all the VFX himself, he was on set and he was there every day, and he did all the VFX in post, and he did an incredible job. So it was definitely the kind of film where if all those elements didn't come together, it wasn't going to work. And we were so thankful that everyone and everything turned out incredible, and the crew was so passionate about the film, which I think is the key thing there. Like, everyone loved the script and it really resonated with them. So that's, yeah.
So
sorry, Tim did such a good job with those moths that we often get asked how we trained the moths.
And I did, in fact, have to look into a insect wrangler, which do exist. And I did get in contact with a couple in North Queensland about moths, but unfortunately the timing of the shoot didn't work out with the timing of the life cycle of moths.
So, Louisa, your advice for young filmmakers listening at the moment, would that be to make sure that you network? Because it sounds like your networking helped you bring this film all together in the end.
Absolutely, yeah. I started my career just like working on sets, unfortunately for free, but that's kind of the nature of the business at the moment. It's working, helping your friends out, working in like assistant roles on set for free just to kind of get experience, or internships, and honestly make friends on set. That's my best advice, because one day like you might need to pull a favor, and of course that favor will work in reverse, but networking, making friends, all of that is honestly the key in this industry across the board.
Well, talking of making friends, Tanya, can you tell us a little bit about how you and Louisa made friends, because that's a story in itself.
Yeah, we came into this project never having met each other. The executive producers who were who had chosen the scripts to go into development contacted me and said, hey, there's this young woman, we think that she'd be suitable for this film, and, have a look at this other short film she did. I had a look, I said, yep, let's meet up. And Louisa and I kind of hit it off immediately. And we really didn't have any creative differences to speak of along the way. There might have been a couple of little, no, I won't, but really most of the time we were just going, want to do this, and the other one would just go, yep, me too. So it was a pretty easy ride there, and we've stayed good friends ever since.
I think, just to jump in, both Tanya and I think, had no ego going into this. All we really cared about was making the best film possible. It wasn't about me, it wasn't about her. It was just, we want to make the best possible film, and we want to make something that speaks to audiences, and that was the goal. And I think as soon as ego is not in the way there, that's kind of when everything works the best in a filmmaking context.
And we wanted to make sure it was a really good experience for all the cast and crew as well. On set, we wanted to have a calm and professional set. So we tried to implement all of those things to support that.
Definitely. Now, I got to say, congratulations on the actor nomination. How does it both make you feel that the film is getting such recognition, not only from people watching the film, but also from people within the industry as well?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, to be honest. When I got the email saying we had been nominated for an actor, I was I was shocked. I feel like even though before that we had won Sydney, and that was just the most shocking part of this journey so far. It was amazing. But even after getting the email saying that we're nominated for an actor, I was still just like blown away. And it's been really, really incredible, and it's so nice to be recognized for a film that has something to say too. So we know that it's got a really wide reach, and we're not just being recognized for all of our crew's filmmaking talents, but also it's a film that's being recognized for. It's got something to say, and it's got a wide kind of reach. And I think going back to, having crew that are passionate about it, that's why everyone put 200% into this film, and that's why everyone is being nominated. Everyone's getting craft awards. Our sound designer has gotten a nomination for the best post-production sound on the film, and hopefully we'll get some more with the rest of the Guild Awards the rest of the year. But yeah, it's been incredible.
And Tanya, how do you feel about the fact that people are talking about this film maybe receiving an Oscar nomination in the future?
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a hard road, but you've got to be in it to win it. Yeah. So, by virtue of winning Sydney, we're allowed to nominate Moths for an Oscar. Not nominate. We hope to get a nomination, but that's a that would be the biggest head explosion, I think, if that ever happens. So it's just, yeah. I don't know. I can't really wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
I've been in emails with the Academy office, and I just I don't understand what's happening. Why am I talking to the Academy?
So, Luisa, I guess the big question to finish up on is, where can people see the film next? If they want to go out there after listening to this interview and want to see the film, where can they go to see it next?
So next we are playing at Heart of Gold's International Short Film Festival in end of October. So the 29th and the 30th of October. That's in Gympie in Queensland. Other than that, it is still playing as part of the Travelling Film Festival, which is the Sydney's Travelling Film Festival, Sydney Film Fest, and that's got a couple more dates in Southport on the Gold Coast, Cairns and Townsville. Other than that, it's playing in England in November, but that might be the Travelling Film Festival might be the end of our run for Australia, but stay tuned, I guess, because we've got some opportunities coming up with kind of distribution around the world and different platforms, and it might go online, but TBD at this point.
Definitely. Well, Luisa, Tanya, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. It's been an absolute honour having you on the show. We wish you all the best of luck with your own careers going ahead, but we also wish you all the best of luck with the actors as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Dave.